Morning everyone. If any of you were watching my exercise channel, you would have seen that just yesterday I did a morning jog up Arthur's Seat, which is this mountain in the middle of Edinburgh. A big hill where you get a view right over all of Edinburgh and you can see the sunrise and the sunset. It's really quite cool. And yesterday I went up there and I shot a couple of photos with this camera, the GoPro Hero 2, and that's about 11 megapixel camera, and I took a couple like panoramic shots and edited them together, and they got put up on some funky Edinburgh websites. So today I thought, right, I'm going to go back up and I'm going to shoot it with some decent cameras. So I've got my Nikon D700 with the telephoto lens on, and I've got the Canon 550D with the Tokina 11-16 on. So I'm going to try and get panoramic, but also maybe like a 360 panoramic, but also like a more zoomed in telephoto panoramic as well, more of the city and going along with the 70-200. So that might be quite interesting. See how all that works out. But the thing was, yesterday it was an absolutely clear blue sky. Just now, it's not. It's looking a bit cloudy. So that's the kind of bumming thing about doing landscape stuff, is that you're so dependent on the weather. However, the other thing is, you can never tell whether it's definitely going to be a good morning or a bad morning. So I don't know whether just as the sun, like it's 6:30 just now, and I've still got to walk up that hill, but you never know that the clouds might just suddenly break just as the sun rises, or you might have this amazing pink morning sky or something like that. So it's kind of a thing where you just kind of have to get fit enough to be able to walk up and down hills pretty much every day, every morning, before everyone else wakes up. And when I say fit enough, I mean fit enough to climb up the hill with both tripods and camera rucksacks and lenses and all that stuff. The good thing about if you're just taking photos, so you don't need to worry about wind so much. So just now down here, oh wow, Edinburgh. Just now down here, there's almost no wind at all, and that's why I can do video stuff where you can at least hear me. But by the time I get to the top of the hill, it's probably going to be pretty windy, so I might not be able to do that much video footage up there, or maybe just silent and dub over it. Now, the city looks beautiful, and looks like I'm beating the sunrise just a little bit. The good thing about doing this yesterday is that I know the best view is at the top, because the danger is, as you're walking up, you're constantly looking behind you going, oh, that's a shot, oh, that's a shot, oh, maybe that'd be better. So doing the walk the day before is good, because you know where the bits to take the shot are going to be, but also, my goodness, yesterday, because it's just using the GoPro, I ran this piece of cake with all this camera gear. Oh my god, I feel like David Elmore Smith. If you don't know who that is, Google it. He's the guy who lost a lot of weight and then put it all back on. Check him out. Another little tip I'd say, if you're shooting panoramic from the top of a hill, don't do it from the very top, which is known as the cairn. The cairn is that usually somebody's put some stones, or there's a little monolith that's been built to represent the very, very top of the hill. I would say do it about 10 meters away, so that whenever you do the panorama, you also capture the cairn at the top of the hill. Well, I was certainly right about the wind. I'm using my hat as a windsock, not a windsock, a dead cat on my GoPro here. But it looks like, whoa, looks like it's going to be a good sunrise, and I'm doing a full HD video of it on the Canon 550D and just shooting straight into the sun. I'm not quite sure, 100% sure of how to do the settings of your camera whenever you're doing kind of like a time lapse like this, but without changing your shutter speed or your aperture. Are you meant to have it at the lowest or the brightest, or are you meant to have it so it does change its settings? I'm not too sure. But here what I've done, I've just kept it on 60th of a second shutter, and the aperture was around about an f5 point something, and at the start it was pretty dark, so just now it's definitely brightened up, because obviously the sun's going to come into it. But yeah, just now waiting for the sun to go and hit the rest of Edinburgh over there. Been taking some shots with this as well, and there was another couple up here just a moment ago that were trying to get some nice pretty shots of themselves, just a little point and shoots. So I was taking photos of them a minute ago. But yeah, it's cool. No one else up here again. Just now the time is 7:42 or 7:45 in the morning. So here is one of the panoramic shots. This one was actually taken with the Nikon D700 and the 7200mm lens. I'm kind of just standing just beside where my camera was doing the video. And I've stitched these photos using the panoramic software called PTGUI. PTGUI, Panoramic Technology Graphical User Interface. I think that's what it's called. And it's made a whopper of an image. So what I did is I took the raw files and then I made them as flat as possible. So I brought the blacks down, I put a little bit of light fill in, I took any noise that I had in it out as well, and then I exported them as JPEGs to PTGUI, and then from there it stitched it all together, and then I put it back into Lightroom, and this is where we're seeing it just now. And when you look at it, you go, yeah, it looks fine, but you know, how much detail is there? Well, if we look at these little people over here, remember this is on 27-inch Mac. If I go 1:1, I can see the camera that she was holding in her hands. I can see the number of buttons on her shoe there. I can also see the depth of field difference because I'd focused on her, or those two, and you can see even at, I think it was at F5 on this one, no, F4 it says up here, I've got a nice blur of this area here. But yet you've got this gorgeous sun just streaming through from back there. So that was just a little bit of editing. I did another one where I'd actually focused not on the people but on the foreground. And well, there's another bit where if you look way out to Edinburgh, see all the stuff away out there, that's a big power station. Let's see the other photo I took. And just to give you an idea of the size of these images, so as TIFF files, each one of these panoramic ones, or for this one, it was 417 megabytes in size and has a resolution of 12,159 by 8,197, which is a lot. So with this shot, this one is the camera, I screwed up on this one. I had the camera where it changed its focus halfway through the shot, so the first point it was on the girls, and then later on it focused further afield. So if we see here, we can see again, girls are looking fairly well sharp and the background nice and blurry. But in this shot you can see, oh look, that's where all of a sudden the sharpness or the focus moved too far away. And from lovely mushy blur at F4 to being able to see individual cars from, what, that must be about 2-3 miles away, maybe a little bit further than that, and then able to see like the power station away out there. You see the individual bits of smoke coming off, and then the hills all over there. It's a bit of a cool, I like that. I like the amount of detail which we can get from looking so far away. But yeah, so that's just something to think about. Where do you want to focus? Do you want to be able to have the people that you're looking at in focus, or is it the detail in the foreground? So I'm going to mix those two photos up together. Well, that's the sunrise kind of come and gone. It's not been quite as awesomely cool as I thought it was going to be. But there is just a great area just near the top where, oh, it's pretty steep. If you look at that. Bit scary to actually get near that, but great view of the castle, which you'll see in this shot. Then here's another shot. This one was actually done with the Nikon D700, but with the Tokina 11-16mm lens. This is about 4 or 5 images stitched together, and obviously the Tokina's a DX, a cropped frame sensor
lens, but you can stick it on your full frame cameras like what I do here, and it gives fantastic looking shots. And because it's so wide angle, everything's in focus. You don't need to work like in that previous shot, because I was at 70mm at f4, there is a blur effect from things which are out of focus. But with this, everything's in focus. So this was standing on the other side, or looking down the other side, and what we can see is, if we look over here, obviously being so much more wide angle, you don't get quite as close up as you do with the other one. But you can see Edinburgh Castle over here. This is the ridge of the Edinburgh Crags. You've got Edinburgh University halls, I think, so the students all live in that kind of area there. My gym is just down here. That is the Meadows over there, which is a big park in Edinburgh. Over there you've got the Pentland Hills with the Edinburgh Dry Ski Slope, the largest dry ski slope in all of Europe, because nowhere else in Europe has a dry ski slope. And you could now you can't really see it, but there's the Forth Road bridges over there, the road and rail bridges over there. But certainly quite an interesting shot from that, and such a wide angle shot there. So then, unfortunately, by this time, the sun had just disappeared behind the clouds, and there's not a dramatic, interesting shot with the sun shining and shadows and light play throughout the environment. So I just took a big, wide-ass panoramic shot, and here's the idea. That's what I was saying about the cairn. So that's the bit which is the highest part of the hill. So lots of places in Scotland, I think throughout the world, they just put these little things on the top and say the top, and they give you the height. But yeah, this was a full 360 degrees. So from there to there is both ends. They're both the same side. And again, so we're seeing all the Firth of Forth, which is the river that comes into Edinburgh and goes all the way up to Falkirk. And you're again just seeing no one else up here is the kind of cool thing. And with this wide angle lens, the Tokina 11-16, I'm very happy with its sharpness. Like, you look at that and you just kind of go, that's impressive. What was it saying? This is at f4.5 ISO 280 at 200th of a second. So I kept the shutter speed the same for all of this shot. Whenever it's kind of like this, there's not really going to be an exposure difference going on at all. But yeah, there you go. That was the images from today. I'll be sticking them on the Don Bauer fan page on YouTube, link down below. And I'll put a link to all these lenses and cameras and stuff which I've been using, including the tripods and stuff, which are quite important. I'll stick them in my Amazon store in the link down below. Hope that helps. Cheers. Bye-bye.
Well, unfortunately, I'd have to say that it doesn't matter what camera you've got with you. It doesn't matter how many megapixels or how many dynamic ranges or whatever it is that your camera's got. With landscape photography, if it's not good light, if it's not a good nature, if it's not good clouds and sun and sky, then you're just not going to get a great photo. So, a little tip there is that if you are going out and you are off to shoot sunrises, sunsets, don't always expect that you're going to have a portfolio boosting landscape shot. I reckon it must be maybe 1 in 20 times that you do something like this that you actually get something which is badass. And I would say yesterday, the shots I got with my GoPro were probably better than what I got today. So, as the age-old saying is, it's not your it's not the quality of your camera, but it's having the camera with you. That's the important thing. I don't know if that's a age-old saying. I've just made that up actually.